Instead of issuing a restraining order, the Supreme Court is directing Ombudsman Remulla and the Independent Commission for Infrastructure to respond to former Congressman Zaldy Co's petition regarding the filing of criminal charges over an anomalous flood control project. In a statement, the Supreme Court says it is giving Remulla and the ICI 10 days upon receipt of the resolution to comment on Co's petition without necessarily giving due course to the petition. In his petition, Co challenged the Ombudsman's findings regarding the reported anomalies in the 289.5 million peso flood control project in Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro. The Ombudsman found probable cause to charge Co before the Sandigan Bayan for graft and malversation of public funds. Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano previously said the case stemmed from the ICI's first referral report involving a project implemented by the Department of Public Works and Highways Mimaropa office through contractor SunWest Incorporated. Clavano said the project was found to have serious structural deficiencies. DPWH Chief Vince Dizon and Governor Bones Dolor conducted a site inspection on September 9. Citing findings from the inspection, Clavano said the steel sheet piles used for the road dike were far below the required standards. He said the findings point to a scheme that allowed unwarranted benefits, falsified technical data, and misuse of public funds. But Co argued that the findings were issued with grave abuse of discretion and that his rights to due process had been violated. President Bongbong Marcos says the Metro Manila Subway project is ahead of schedule as he led the groundbreaking of its Kalayaan Avenue and Bonifacio Global City stations in Taguig City. Ahead of the event, Marcos also inspected on Friday, February 13, the Metro Manila Subway project Shaw Boulevard station in Pasig City. In his speech, Marcos shared how the project is moving even more quickly than originally planned.
I join with you in our optimism and excitement as we gather here for the groundbreaking of the Kalayaan Avenue and Bonifacio Global City or BGC stations. This segment will link the Shaw Boulevard station, which we just came from and we inspected, and I'm happy to report that the progress is proceeding. And the work is proceeding, and we are very much on schedule. In fact, we are from the original timetable. We have accelerated the process, and we are moving even more quickly than that.
The Kalayaan Avenue station will be located beneath 11th Avenue and the uptown open parking area, while the BGC station will be situated along McKinley Parkway between Serendra and Market. According to Marcos, the BGC stations are projected to serve more than 200,000 passengers daily during their opening year. Once the entire 33-kilometer Metro Manila Subway project is operational, Marcos says travel time from Valenzuela City to BGC will be cut from 1.5 hours to just 29 minutes.
This will also significantly improve airport connectivity. From Quezon City to Manila Airport, the travel time will be shortened from more than 1 hour to 35 minutes. More importantly, planned railway interconnections will allow seamless transfers at key stations. At North Avenue, the subway will connect to LRT1, MRT3, and MRT7. At the Anona station, it will connect to LRT2. At the Ortigas station, it will link with the proposed MRT4.
The Japan International Cooperation Agency is financing the project under a loan agreement approved by the Department of Economy, Planning and Development in September 2021. The total approved project cost exceeds 488 billion pesos. A demonstration run is targeted for 2028, with full completion expected by 2032. Marcos says the government is exercising careful oversight and close coordination among all the implementing agencies and all its partners. The Department of Foreign Affairs says it will maintain a firm and professional approach in handling West Philippine Sea issues and will not be swayed by public criticism or online commentary. In a press briefing on Friday, February 13, DFA spokesperson for Maritime Affairs Rogelio Villanueva Jr. says Philippine diplomats will stay focused on long-term national interests. He says the DFA will avoid being sidetracked by what he describes as jeers from casual commentators, non-practitioners, and self-styled experts.
We will continue to engage our counterparts in a firm and professional manner, consistent with the mutual respect that must prevail in all diplomatic interactions. The DFA will continue to be guided by the President's directive as the chief architect of Philippine foreign policy, and not to allow ourselves to be sidetracked by the jeers of some casual commentators, non-practitioners, and self-styled experts.
The DFA's remarks came amid criticism from some maritime policy analysts and legal experts who have questioned the department's preference for quiet diplomacy in addressing tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Villanueva says diplomacy remains the country's primary tool for securing strategic priorities in the maritime domain. According to Villanueva, the agency's diplomats handled complex negotiations with attention to nuance and long-term national interest rather than public approval. He adds that engagements with foreign counterparts would continue to be guided by professionalism and mutual respect.
As we have previously said, defense capabilities, messaging, and transparency are all important tools, but diplomacy is the bigger tool in the maritime toolbox and remains indispensable for securing the country's strategic priorities.
Vice President Sara Duterte says President Bongbong Marcos supposedly committed an impeachable offense when he signed the 2025 National Budget Bill. In an interview, Duterte was asked to comment on Malacanang's earlier statement that Marcos did not commit any impeachable offense. She says it was her personal opinion that Marcos committed an impeachable offense when he signed the allegedly anomalous national budget. Aside from this, Duterte says other grounds for impeachment are the use of illegal drugs and incompetence.
Ako di ba ang nagsabi pinakauna na impeachable offense yung pagpirma ng budget na alam mong galing siya sa bill na may mga blanco at merong mga insertions. At syempre impeachable offense din yung humihindi ang isang opisyal kapag merong nagtatanong ng competency niya na mamuno at may nagsasabi na gumagamit siya ng illegal na droga.
The Vice President says she could not refuse any challenge to her fitness to lead.
Ako bilang Vice President, kapag merong challenge sa fitness ko, paniwala ko, hindi ako pwede umindi. Kasi nag-oath ako eh. At sinasabi ko doon na I will preserve and defend the Constitution. And paano mo ma-preserve and defend ang Constitution, ang saligang batas, kung wala ka sa tamang pag-iisip?
Duterte also says she could not comment on the House of Representatives' chunking of the 2 impeachment complaints against Marcos since she was not able to follow the proceedings.
Wala akong komento dyan kasi hindi ko naman napanood yung proceedings doon sa Justice Committee.
The 2025 General Appropriations Act was hounded with controversies regarding congressional insertions. Former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co earlier accused Marcos of getting a 25 billion peso kickback from his alleged request for a 100 billion peso insertion in the 2025 national budget. The House ultimately junked the 2 impeachment complaints against the president after 284 lawmakers voted to adopt the Justice Panel's report, declaring the complaints were insufficient in substance. Lawyer Andre De Jesus filed the first complaint accusing Marcos of illegal drug use and corruption. The Makabayan Coalition lodged a second complaint alleging that Marcos committed betrayal of public trust over the adoption of the BBM parametric formula and the allocation of infrastructure projects. Marcos said he was glad that the impeachment complaints against him were dismissed, even describing these efforts as distractions and a political move.